Mm. This is the final box of biography, the final week of biography thus far. Who knows if another box will show up tomorrow? But I think this is my favorite biography box so far. Or at least it's got the most ones I recognize in it. So we'll get to this in a second here. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina KRSTINA. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no fancy smashy stuff going on here. And this is a good box biography, at least I think so. I don't know yet. I really haven't looked at them all. So shall we get to it here? Peggy Wallace Kennedy, The Road, The Broken Road. Peggy Wallace Kennedy has been widely hailed as the symbol of racial reconciliation. In the summer of 1963, though, she was a young girl watching her father stand in a schoolteacher door as he tried to block two African American students from entering the University of Alabama. This man, the governor of Alabama and the future presidential candidate, George Wallace, was notorious for his hateful rhetoric and his political stunts, but he was also a larger-than-life father to young Peggy, who was taught to smile, sit straight, and not speak up as her father took to the political stage. Let's see. Brave. Rose McGowan. Oh, Charmed. It's our Charmed lady. Yes, I think it is. Rose escaped the children of God as a child, moved to the States, and then ran away at 13. She lived a transient punk life on and off the streets until she was discovered in Los Angeles and overnight became one of the Hollywood's most desired actresses. In a strange world where she was continually on display, stardom soon became a personal nightmare of constant exposure and sexualization. Rose escaped into the world of her mind, something she had done as a child, and into high-profile relationships. So that is the Rose from Charmed, right? Ugh, I don't know. You know who this is? Good Lord. Ugh. The White Elm Men, Lance Armstrong. Oh, the Wheelmen. Egg on my face. Sorry. Lance Armstrong won a record-smashing 7 Tour de France yellow jerseys after starving down cancer, and in the process became an international symbol of resilience and courage. In a sport consistently dogged by blood-coping scandals, Armstrong seemed above the fray. Never had a cycling or any sport boasted such a charismatic, accomplished champion. Then, in the summer of 2012, the legend imploded. The rumors that had long hounded Armstrong began to solidify. Buried evidence surfaced. Hushed-up witnesses came forth. Armstrong's tour victories were stripped from him. His sponsor abandoned him, and in a final disgrace, he resigned as chairman of his own foundation. Oops. Aw, I know who this is too. Somebody sold this for $2. $2. Mr. Rod Stewart. I know who Rod is. Other pictures. Other pictures. Yes, there are pictures. He was on stage with him now, I think. I'm not sure. I think. His life. I think it'd be interesting. Through 4 decades and more than 3 dozen albums, Rod Stewart has defined what it means to be a rock and roll star. His larger-than-life personality, masterful stage presence, and powerful songwriting ability have brought him international fame, money, and a bevy of women. Okay. John Kerry, Every Day is Extra. I think he ran for president. John Kerry tells the story of his remarkable American life from son of a diplomat to decorated Vietnam vet, 5-term U.S. Senator, 2004 Democratic presidential nominee, and Secretary of State for 4 years. Let's see. There's a lot of them. Finding the Dragon Lady, the mystery of Vietnam's Madame New. I don't know. In November 1963, the president of South Vietnam and his brother were brutally executed in a coup that's sanctioned and supported by the American government. President Kennedy later explained to his close friend Paul Redfray that the reason the United States made the fateful decision to get rid of the NGOs was in no small part because of South Vietnam First Lady Madame New. He calls us some words. Where the light enters, Jill Biden. How did you get this number? Those were the first words Jill Biden spoke to U.S. Senator Joe Biden when he called her out of the blue to ask her for a date. Game face, Bernard King. Bernard King is NBA Hall of Famer and one of the most dynamic scorers in basketball history. King notoriously private as a player and rarely spoke to the press, not about his career, never about his personal life. And even beyond the prolific scoring, King will ever be remembered for the gruesome knee injury he suffered in 1980. My name escapes me. The Diary of Retiring Actor Alex Guinness. When I'm asked, which is too often, if I'm retired, I have to assume a pained expression and deny it. At 82, I'm well past my sell-by date, and I doubt if any part, however small, would tempt me. The difficulty is the chore of learning and diminishing physical vitality, both of which could choke any creative effort. So I'm happy to scribble instead. Gladly, Sir Alex Guinness has taken the form of his insightful, witty diary, a bestseller in England, best known for his roles as varied as Lawrence Arabia and Star Wars. Stanley Kubrick and me. Stanley Kubrick, the director of string of timeless movies from Leota to Doctor Strangelove 2001, A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, and others, always depicted by the media as Howard Hughes of filmmakers, a misanthrope and weird artist obsessed with his work and privacy to the point of madness. But who was he really? Emilio de Alessandro's lets us see. Eunice, the Kennedy who changed the world. While Joe Kennedy was grooming his sons for the White House and the Senate, his Stanford-educated daughter Eunice was hijacking her father's fortune and her brother's political power to engineer one of the great civil rights movements of our time. Eunice Kennedy Shriver is the reason we no longer lock away our children and adults with intellectual disabilities. We educate them, employ them, and help them thrive. Well, thank you. We got Rosemary Kennedy, the School for the Handicapped. Gone, a girl, a violin, a life unstrung. Her first violin was tiny, harsh, factory-made. Her first piece was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. But from the beginning, Mim King knew that music was the element in which she could swim, dive, and soar. At 7 years old, she was a prodigy, the youngest ever student at the famed Purcell School. At 11, she won her first international prize. At 18, violinist great Ruggiero Ricci called her the most talented violinist I ever taught. Things a little bird told me. He looks familiar. Does he have a radio show? A co-founder of Twitter, Biz Stone. From GQ's Nerd of the Year to one of Time's most influential people in the world, Biz Stone represents things to different people, but he's known all the creative, effervescent, funny, charming, positive, remarkably savvy co-founder of Twitter. Okay? My, not my father's son, Alan Cumming. Dark, painful memories can be like a cage, or in the case of Alan Cummings, they can be packed away in a box, stuck in the attic to be forgotten, until one day the box explodes and all memories come flooding back. Ken Langone, co-founder of Home Depot. I love capitalism. Ken Langone started as a hard-working teenager who dug ditches and collected used cardboard. Now he's a billionaire and business icon, the co-founder of the Home Depot and former director of the New York Stock Exchange. What if he's... Let's see. 2018. He's probably still alive then. Fairy Tale Interrupted, a memoir of life, love, and loss. Rosemarie Terenzino. To everyone else, John F. Kennedy Jr. may have been American royalty. To Rosemarie Terenzino, he was an entitled nuisance, and she wasn't afraid to let him know. Okay. Okay. These are some hot. Surely I Jest, A Storied Life, Cindy Williams. Cindy Williams, half of the comedic duo of Laverne and Shirley, has had a wild and lively career in show business. This book is engaging and heartfelt journey from Williams' blue-collar roots to an unexpected stardom, being pranked by Jim Morrison while waiting tables at Whiskey A Go, to starring in one of the most iconic shows on television. Picture. Picture. There they are. Lenny and Squiggy, Shirley, Laverne, her dad, Raguso, her gut, her stepmom, Ellen DeGeneres. The funny thing is, Ellen DeGeneres published her first book of comic essays, the #1 best-selling My Point, and I Do Have One, way back in '96. Not one to rest on her laurels, the witty star of stage and screen has dedicated his life to writing a hilarious new book. This is that book. Hercules. Have you heard of Hercules? Kevin Sorbo, Truth, Strength. Ah, come on, there better be pictures. Yes, I love pictures. How did they do that? I wonder how they did that. Let's see. Stuart Ward's An Extravagant Life. We may start doing his books on this YouTube channel as soon as I start collecting them. Over the last 40 years, Stuart Woods has written 90 novels of suspense and intrigue, beginning with his award-winning Chef. His plots are masterful, conceived, and wonderful. This is his life. Look at this. Guy can write. Another lady that... Have you seen the Amazon Prime series? It was really good. Victoria. When Queen Victoria died in 1901, she had ruled for 64 years. She was a mother of 9 and grandmother of 42, and the matriarch of royal Europe through her children's marriages. Too many. Queen Victoria is a ruler shrouded in myth and mystique, an aging stiff widow paraded as the figurehead to an all-male imperial enterprise. And then we had Queen Elizabeth. We had Queen Elizabeth way back in the 1500s if you're going with the Ursula Burkhardt, Fiona Berkeley series. And our final book, I know this guy. He wrote Helen Keller, one of the books about Helen Keller. So go check that out. It's huge. I've got it up. It's like this big. It's one of my favorite books of him. Founding Fathers, The Revolutionary Generation, Brothers Joseph J. Ellis. Illuminating study of the intertwined lives of the founders of the American Republic, John Adams, Aaron Burr, Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and George Washington. During the 1790s, which Ellis calls the most decisive decade in our nation's history, the greatest statesmen of their generation, perhaps of any, came together to define the new republic and direct its course for the coming centuries. Ellis focuses on 6 discrete moments that exemplify the crucial issues facing the fragile new nation. Burr and Hamilton steadily do and what may have really happened. Hamilton, Jefferson, and Madison's secret dinner, during which the seat of the permanent capital was determined in exchange of Hamilton's financial plan. The room where it happened. The room where it happens. Franklin's petition to end the peculiar institution of slavery, his last public act, and Madison's efforts to squash it. Washington's president-setting farewell address, announcing his retirement from public office and offering his country some final advice. Awesome. No pictures. So this was a good box. This was a good buy. I actually recognize some of these people and these authors. So what'd you think? What'd you think? How'd it go? Don't forget to check out If Then Later and Flashback Monday. We're almost to the end of that too. Have to think of something. Have a good one.